Hey guys, G4T, and today I just pretty much relaxed. I've been out biking, as you guys can tell, and a lot of times when you don't watch TV and you're not really on the computer anymore, it's just a matter of killing time. And I do understand why people take up smoking now. It's like something to do. Just when you get tired of watching TV, when you get tired of searching for stuff online. For me, it's just been walking. So you walk, and then you walk some more, you bike some more. So I'm probably dropping major poundage now with my activities. But the nervous tics and the anxiety have subsided. I was getting those about 8 o'clock in the morning, and those have stopped. I've set my alarm clock to wake up around 5:30. So that way I can avoid that kind of nervous tic I've been getting. But I guess what the biggest burden is right now for me is just the burden of time. I know you guys there's a lot of you guys that may say, well, that's actually a luxury, but it's weird when you have so much time on your hands, it starts to become a little bit burdensome and a little bit lonely, and hence that's why I go to the coffee shops. That's why I go hang out at the grocery store. That's why, because I can easily start up a conversation with somebody. I don't know what's wrong with me, but it seems like I can't maintain a long-term friendship with anybody, and I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's maybe I'm not putting the effort in, or maybe I bug them too much. Maybe I have too much time on my hands and I start to get on people's nerves. But I just notice my friends tend to drift away from me and don't return my phone calls. They don't want to hang out with me. Maybe it's because when I hanging out for me is going to the park or going to the beach or relaxing or taking a bike ride. No one wants to do those things that I like to do. And maybe there's a group out there that likes doing the things I like to do, but I haven't had any luck finding those groups. All my friends, they're into playing golf, watching their kids at sporting events. What else do they do? Smoking weed, watching TV, playing poker, and football. That's like everyone's addiction seems to be football, and that's a topic I've been wanting to talk about a lot. Alan Watt talks about it, and he talks about how people didn't always used to be the way they are today. There was a time where women's focus was, more frugality and mending clothes and, cooking and family togetherness and maybe talking, gossiping, whatever. But in the 1930s, Bernays and other psychoanalysts and psychotherapists got on Madison Avenue, and they had to change female culture in America and beyond. And they had to create a consumerist culture, shopping culture. And I think today pretty much you have that. To be a woman in America really means you're a shopper and you're a consumer. I wouldn't say 100%, but I'd say for a majority of them, if they aren't buying something, they don't feel like they're a woman. If they're not wearing, the latest brands, they don't feel they're a woman. And that's why they're working hard at those jobs so they can do the shopping for themselves and for their kids. Mending clothes, buying things secondhand, cooking things from scratch. That's like the furthest thing from their minds. And my problem is my kids are getting indoctrinated with that stuff. When they're not at my house, they're watching TV, and I try to explain to them that, there's programming on that TV, but my wife won't listen to me. And it's not just the advertisers that are bombarding them with commercials. It's the whole lifestyle. They're watching iCarly, they're seeing a little girl pretty much raised in opulence without a mother and a father. And they're watching so many comedy shows so degrading to men, and the women are all powerful, but they put down the men. So in America, we've created this culture for women that is about just consuming and shopping and kind of being degrading to men. And now that we're seeing the economic breakdown, you're not that dream, that American dream isn't being able to be fulfilled for a lot of women. And with men, to a lesser extent, we like our toys, and we like to finance our toys and our electronics, and we go overboard too. But really, what's been sold in America and beyond is the concept of supporting a national corporate sports team and kind of investing your entire livelihood and a lot of times your financial resources, because you're flying out to these events, you're paying tickets and buying the jerseys and what have you. And in reality, that's based upon our need for tribal community competition. I mean, it goes back to the Native American situation where it really took Western civilization to destroy a good thing. I mean, there was a time where all men did was hunt and fish and go out and procure food and kill game, and the women were in charge of taking care of the family and making sure the village ran. And we were migratory in nature, and it took the Western world to destroy all that and replace that with the 9 to 5 or the 9 to 6 or whatever you call it. And it's pretty sad. And I know I'm jumping from subject to subject, but I've always been a free market capitalist. But here's the thing: I think guys like Peter Schiff and people like that are free marketeers don't really ever talk about, and I'm starting to see this later on in life, is that capitalism is really in some ways exploitive. It's the best system we have because it procures goods and services in the most efficient manner and allows people to compete, and the best rise to the top. But if you think about it, there's so much of our free market-based capitalistic society that is dependent upon third world resources and the extraction of those resources. And I see people running to and fro using their SUVs, using their cars, and we're using electricity off of the grid. I mean, we're buying food from the grocery store. All that's based upon oil. So we didn't produce that oil. We didn't create that oil. We didn't, we aren't God. And it took millions of years to create that oil. All we've done in the last couple hundred years is extract the resources that Mother Nature has, and we've exploited it and that's why we are having the lifestyle we have. And it really goes back to the more complex a society is, the more vulnerable a society is. And all you have to do to see the vulnerability of the society is look at the people. If you look at the people, in America anyways, they're obese, they're sick. I mean, I'm making huge generalizations, but we're weak. We're weak. Even the gang members are weak. As I'm getting to the ability where I can bike up a hill, I can run 5 miles without stopping, I can bike for 4 hours without stopping. I mean, literally, I can outrun any trouble that comes my way, unless they're going to confront me with a gun. But it gives you a real sense of power when you start becoming strong physically. And that's one thing that we don't have. We don't have that physicality in America where we can go out and grow our own food, produce our own transportation via bicycle, and that's strength. That's real strength. If you're driving, you're relying upon a finite resource, oil. If you're buying stuff from the store, you're relying upon third world low wages. I mean, that's exploitative in nature. I mean, what free market capitalism does is it goes into a society that is sustainable, villages that live off the land, grow their own food, and then we disrupt that somehow, and the people become impoverished, and then we put a factory where they have to be put in that factory and to procure their food. So capitalism creates poverty because the only measure of wealth is the financial aspect, and I would argue the financial aspect of a country or a region is probably 20% of its wealth. There's so much more wealth in the clean air that you breathe, the community that you have, the sustainability. I mean, there's so much more to wealth that I think economics is becoming outdated. It's becoming where if you rely everything upon GDP and the financial aspect and unlimited growth, you're not hitting the nail on the head. And I'm not saying I have the answers. Community and society is so important. I've been studying a couple education experts about happiness, and I've big component of happiness is being in tune with your community and your social surroundings. And when you start waking up, you become dislodged from your surroundings socially, and you become dislodged from your surroundings community-wise, and it becomes very difficult to have that human interaction and human contact. And that's a very, very, very important key to happiness. I mean, it comes before marriage and even having children. So unlocking all that is difficult. That's where I'm trying to get a handle on right now, is I'm getting my health under control. I'm down like 20 pounds. My blood pressure's under control. I'm starting to figure out the type of dietary needs my body needs. But then I haven't unlocked that social aspect. I mean, I got a lot of friends that I can call, but pretty much they're in a different situation than me. They're busy working and they don't have a lot of time. And when they do have time, they want to be spending money, and I'm just not there. So I guess what I'd like is a group of 10 to 20 friends that want to live the lifestyle I do, which is pretty much relaxed, non-consumerist, frugal lifestyle, but having fun, maybe even learning about indigenous culture, because right now I just feel like I'm doing it on my own. The homeless, the ones that aren't on drugs and alcohol, which is very few, are kind of the ones that seem to I get along best with, either that or there's a monk in a monastery I seem to get along with. It's people that have kind of disengaged from society that I get along with best. Jeff the Canuck, Man of Truth. There's just so many, there's so few of those people that have just, either they've disengaged from society or, mentally, psychologically, we can't re-engage. And that's where I'm at right now. 3 years out of work. I've tried looking for work. Seems like when I go on the job boards, when I call people, it's almost like you have to beg just to get your foot in the door. And then once you get your foot in the door, they ask you real asinine questions that, it just makes me, honestly, it makes me violent. You would think not watching TV or movies and stuff, you'd get real pacifist. But when you stop watching this stuff, it unlocks this anger aspect, or this kind of like, it unlocks this angry aspect. I mean, this animal aspect. And it's just like, if someone disrespects me, I just can't take it. I have a feeling, my last job, I almost strangled my boss, man. I almost destroyed his life. So I'm kind of afraid to take a job again. I think I'm a mental risk for probably a corporation or even a small business, because if I'm just wronged, I just have a feeling I'm just going to go postal. And I don't know if that's a good way to end this video, but it's the honest to God truth. And I don't know if you guys can understand it or understand me, but I'm just laying it out there. So anyways, sun is setting in Southern California. It's a good day today. Very, very calm, relaxed. And I just wanted to share it with you guys. Peace out. God bless. Take care.